You do, Steve Kornacki. Where do things stand right now?
Well, here we go, Stephanie. This is where the poll average closes as we enter Election Day. Average of all the polls actually has Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, narrowly ahead of Terry McAuliffe. Really, this just spells an extremely close race. But obviously, in a state that Joe Biden carried by 10 points, double digits last year, the Republican comes in today with a real chance of winning. That's a big change from a year ago. What are we going to be watching as the votes start to come in tonight? Three things to point out to you quickly. First of all, take a look at the blue counties, the blue cities right outside of Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia. A lot of people up here. Take a look at the suburbs outside Richmond as well. Big population centers. These are areas where the long-term trend has favored Democrats, but also where since 2016, when Donald Trump was elected, there's been even more dramatic shifts away from the Republican Party toward the Democratic Party. One big question we're going to see tonight, how many of those suburban voters who abandoned the Republican Party because of Donald Trump, how many of them is Glenn Youngkin able to win back tonight? Also, take a look, Southwest Virginia, go up into the Shenandoah Valley as well, core Republican areas of the state. But these are areas where Donald Trump actually improved over the Republican performance, for instance, from Mitt Romney in 2012. These were sort of Trump surge areas. There's not as many voters here as there are in Northern Virginia, Richmond suburbs, but that's question number 2 tonight. Can Glenn Youngkin hang on to the new voters that Donald Trump brought into the Republican Party if he could make inroads in the suburbs and hold on to those voters that Trump brought in? That could be a powerful combination. And then number 3, what about bellwethers? What about swing counties, swing areas? We're going to take a look tonight, talk a lot, I'm sure, about the city of Virginia Beach, 450,000 people, largest city in the state. Joe Biden carried this, as you can see, by about 5.5 points over Donald Trump last year. That was a flip. Trump carried Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach was historically Republican, swung over to Biden in 2020. Can Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, win that back? We'll also spend a lot of time, I'm sure, looking right next door in the city of Chesapeake. Very similar story there. Those, I think, 2 of the closest things you're going to see to bellwethers on this map tonight, Stephanie.
But Larry, those early voting, mail-in voting, when those votes get counted in Virginia?
Yes, we should know tonight the wild card is in Virginia. If it's in the mail, the ballot on Election Day, it still can't count. They'll add some votes in on Friday that arrive during the week. It's not a big pool of votes, though, so unless it's exceedingly narrow tonight, I think we should know tonight. One thing to point out here is there's a bit of a wild card. The polls close 7 o'clock Eastern time. Look right up here at Fairfax County. This is by far the largest county in the state. Like 13% of all the votes in the state are going to come out of Fairfax County. Fairfax County has been one of the slowest to report out its votes. It has a new election director who says this year he thinks in the first few minutes after polls close, they'll be able to report out their early vote and just about all of their mail vote. It took them till nearly midnight to do that in 2020. That's why the call on Virginia in the 2020 election came so late. Fairfax County, if they do what they're saying they'll do, we could have a ton of vote from by far the biggest county in the state very early tonight.
Well, we'll be watching you all night long because you know the Kornacki cam is going to be turned up tonight. Larry, the talk...